For our first exercise today, we're going to warm up through the back of the legs. So you're going to bring the knees together and just lift and lower the legs. So try and keep the weight of the legs over the body. I like to put my hands against my legs, but you can relax them on the floor if you want. And what we're trying to do here is feel the stretch in the back of the knees. And do it at the speed that feels right for you. And it might feel good to stop at the top and flex and point the toe, which is going to give a bit of stretch into the calf. But it's your body, your workout. You work with what feels good for you. So again, the weight of the knees is over the body. Work into that area of tightness. Flex and point. Taking the left leg to the ground, take the right leg up in the air and support the leg. Now if you're really struggling to get the leg straight, if the leg is here, you might want to bend it slightly. I want you to feel the stretch in the back of the knee. My leg's straight, again fine if yours isn't. Try and support the leg above or below. Just going to relax into that stretch. Holding it for a few moments. Let's change sides. Bring it down, taking the other leg up in the air. And again, same thing. If your leg is there, bring it in so you can feel the weight over. Bend the knee if you need to slightly. And then straighten the leg as far as it will go for you. And if that's there and you're feeling it in the back of the knee, that's fine. You're getting the stretch that we're looking for. Try and keep the back in neutral. And you might find that you can pull the leg in a little bit closer, but watch that you're not tilting your pelvis and rocking your back into the ground to do this. We're looking to get a stretch in the back of the knee rather than worrying about how far over the leg comes. If you can get it to 90 degrees, so straight up in the air, that's really good. It doesn't really need to come very much further. Well done. Taking both feet to the ground. Feel about hip width apart, so if you bring the feet together, toes out, heels out will give you that. I'm keeping my arms out the way to the side. You can put them wherever's comfortable for you. What I'm going to ask you to do is just drop your right knee towards the ground. So when you do this, you're trying to keep the pelvis still. So if you're not sure, you can put your hands on the top of your hips. Feel what's going on. We're alternating the knees towards the ground. Join me when you're ready. Well done. Other side. So if you find that the leg that isn't moving is wobbling a lot, try pushing that heel into the ground. Think about engaging your core muscles, so pulling the belly button back towards the spine without rounding the back into the mat. And this exercise is really about pelvic stability, so trying to keep this part of your body, your pelvis, as still as possible. But it's also going to give you a little bit of mobility in the hips. Don't worry about how low down you go. If you're touching all the way to the floor, you're probably tilting the pelvis and not working on that stability. Keep thinking about engaging the core. Think about pulling up your pelvic floor. And breathing, keep breathing. Well done. So hug the knees into the chest, give it a little bit of rest. The next exercise is going to be for stretching through the hip flexors, so the muscles across the top of the hips at the front, but also a little bit for memory. So at no point are both feet off the ground, and at no point are both legs straight. So you start with both legs bent. You're going to hug your right knee into the chest, slide your left heel along the ground, and you might get the legs straight, but don't worry if you can't. And you're going to feel a stretch in that hip. Hold that for a moment, hold it for a couple of breaths. And then slowly bring that heel back up until the knee's bent and let the top knee come down to join it. Let's change legs, bringing the left leg in towards the chest, hug it in first. Underneath if it's more comfortable, and then slide the heel away. Don't worry again if your knee is slightly bent, if you can't straighten the leg. Really depends how tight your hips are. Try and keep the knee pointing towards the sky. Well done. Hold that for a moment. Keep a couple of deep breaths if you can. But keep breathing. Now, slowly slide that leg back towards you. Take the first leg down. Let's do one more. Hug the knee in. Slide the other leg away. And release. Bring that leg back in. Take the other leg down to the floor. Hug your left leg in. Last time. Hold it here. Slide the leg away. Keep breathing. And then when you're ready, slide that leg back in, bring the knee down. Now I'm going to ask you to take both legs as wide as you comfortably can on the mat. And we're going to do windscreen wiper. I'm going to move around a little bit so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing here. Legs are nice and wide, arms out the way, and all I'm going to ask you to do is drop your right knee towards the floor and your left knee, both going in the same direction. Try and keep the shoulders on the floor and let the mat move as it needs to. So it doesn't matter if you're only going a small way. If you only come to here, that's fine. But if you can get the knee that's going towards the centre all the way down to the floor, that's great too. I'm not quite there. I'm just going with what feels right for me today, warming up through the lower back. Do a couple more. Okay, bring the feet back to hip width apart. I'm going to ask you to bring your right leg up to tabletop. So as if you're going to put a tray on your leg, knees above the hip. So you're going to do little circles. Now if that feels too heavy, you can always drop the foot down to the floor. And if you've got very flexible hamstrings, if the back of your thighs are very loose and you can get your leg totally straight with the weight over your body, you can do it with a straight leg. I'm going to keep it here. Change direction. So while we're doing this, we're trying to keep the pelvis as still as possible again. The movement isn't very big. Think of circling round a small child's ball. Let's change direction again. But we're also trying to keep the other knee as still as possible. So you're engaging the core muscles. I like to keep my elbows on the floor. Helps the stability slightly. Take that leg to the floor. Let's change legs. Bringing your left leg up to tabletop, same thing. Let's take a little circle. Don't forget you can drop the foot down or you can have a straight leg, whatever works for you. It's all coming from the hip, but you're also trying to keep the pelvis as still as possible. Let's change direction. Well done. Slow and controlled. Be aware of what's going on with the other leg. Maybe have a quick look and see what's happening. Push the heel of the stationary leg even into the mat. Well done. Let's change direction again. And the other way, one more time. And change sides. Take the legs down. I'm going to turn sideways now. And then for the next exercise, I'd like you to start by putting your fingers under your lower back if it's possible. You're only going to the first joint, and we're trying to keep that back as level as possible. Feet hip width apart. If you're not sure, bring feet and knees together, toes out, heels out, and we're going to slide the right heel along the mat. Nice and slowly, trying to keep the other leg as still as possible. Doesn't matter if the leg doesn't quite straighten. When you get to the end, you're going to flex the foot, feel the stretch into the calf, and bring that leg slowly back. Try and keep it nice and slow and controlled. Really concentrate on not allowing that back to roll up. If you can get the leg straight, that's great. That's what we're aiming for, but don't worry if you can't. It's something to think about in the long term. And nice and slow and controlled with a little flex heel at the end. So in other words, pointing your toes towards your face, stretching through the heel as well as the knee. Nice and slow and controlled. Try and keep the pelvis as still as possible. Try and keep the back as still as possible. So you're engaging your core. And always, always breathing. Try and move with your breath. Let's change the arms. So I'm going to take the arms up in the air. I hope I don't hit my blocks and mats behind me. We're going to take the right leg away as we take the left arm above the head. Whoa. I'm going to have to move. These workouts are designed to do in a small space. But it really only works if you've got at least the space of a mat. And I'm a little bit too far up mine. So palms facing inward. Last one. And back. And rest. That's all for today. I look forward to seeing you in the next